it's Friday and welcome to PracticeMakesProse. So this week we are discussing first person, second person, or third person. What are our preferences as far as point of view and how do we pick it? And this seems like such a simple topic, simple choice to make when writing a novel, but really it's probably one of the most important decisions you'll make going into writing. So I have to admit, my thoughts as far as how to choose which point of view is going to work best for your novel are a bit scrambled. Mostly because there are so many things that go into the choice, and because it is such an important choice. And as Allie mentioned in her video on Wednesday, there are just so many pros and cons to each one that it is kind of hard to choose. So starting with first person, that's the one that I've always sort of been stronger at writing, mostly because it is the one that I think is best if you are really good with characters. You are stuck in the character's head the entire time. So if you aren't comfortable with that or you aren't good at that, first person might not be the best thing for you, although it can help build your strength in that area. So if you aren't good with it, maybe you do need to experiment with first person. And probably one of the biggest cons to first person is that it is a very hard thing to balance because you do tend to get stuck in that character's head so many times or so much that you forget to describe what's going on around the character. That is definitely one of the biggest things that I do. I have a very large tendency to forget to tell where the characters are at, to describe the scenery, and sometimes even provide physical description of the characters. My writing does get very thought heavy and dialogue heavy because of those being my talents. And so if you're going to do first person, definitely one thing to consider is if you're able to balance that out. And if you've been writing in first person, maybe you need to go back and look at that balance and see where you need to add in more description. Now, as far as second person, that's something that you don't see very often, at least in novels, which is what most of our videos on this channel are aimed toward. But second person can be a wonderful thing in poetry or short stories, and it's definitely something I would recommend experimenting with, mostly just because it's a lot of fun, and also because it's a big challenge. And sometimes as a writer, you just need a big challenge, either to start building your strengths more, or start building your weaknesses, or even because you have a really bad writer's block and you just need to experiment with things. So while second person may not be that great for full-length novels, it's still something great that can help make you a better writer. And maybe you'll be one of the few that can pull off second person in a full-length novel. Now as far as third person, this is probably the one that I'm the weakest in, because it does require more description and knowing what's going on around your character, and you spend less time in the character's head. Now, like first person, there's a balance that comes to third person. It is very easy to dwell on describing what's going on and forget to talk about what your characters are thinking and feeling. So when you're writing third person, make sure that the reader still knows what's going on in that character's head and how they feel about everything that's happening to them. Now, a few other factors that go into choosing which point of view is going to work best for you, other than just what your strengths are, also what your novel is about. Sometimes different genres work better with different points of view, and that's also kind of a personal opinion sort of thing. Personally, I think first person works better in contemporaries, while third person might work better in science fiction or fantasy. It depends entirely on how you view each genre and what you like reading most. Another thing that goes into each point of view is trying to decide what your goals are for this novel. Is it something that you want to try and experiment with more and build certain things within your writing? Or is it just something that you want to stick to your comfort zone? And sticking to your comfort zone sometimes sounds like such a horrible thing, but sometimes it can be a really good thing. So just think about what's going on with your story and your characters and you as a writer when it comes to picking your point of view. And also, one very important thing to remember is that you may plan on writing in a certain point of view, and when you sit down to start writing, you go the opposite direction. Don't be scared when this happens. As I say all the time in my videos, just go with it. Maybe you'll get a couple of chapters down the road and you'll find out it's not working very well. Or maybe you'll get a couple of chapters down the road and you'll find out that it's working way better than what you originally had planned. You just have to experiment and see what happens, as with everything in writing. So that's my thoughts on points of view. Don't forget to check out Joe's video on Monday, and then on Wednesday, Allie will be back with our new topic. Don't forget, practice makes pros. Bye, everyone.